Today we're going to take this 6500 Catfish Special Abu Garcia. We're going to take it apart, we're going to clean it, and we're going to get it all greased back up. And this is something really important. You should do this at minimum once a year. Really depends on how often you're fishing, how dirty your reels are getting, if they're getting rained on. A lot of different factors come into play of how often you should do this, but nevertheless it is very important. If you don't maintain your reels, they're not going to last nearly as long as they should. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get this screw loose, pop that off. It exposes this here. You got to take that snap clip off and get this nut here loose. I like to take the handle off first because it allows you to get to all these other screws and stuff a lot easier. So bam, just like that. Now you can get to all this other hardware much easier. So first thing I do is these three screws. Where are we at here? This one, that one, and that one. That gets this side of the reel off. It also allows you to pull the spool out and gives you access to that side. As you can see, we're pretty dirty, grimy. We're gonna get that cleaned up, throw some grease in on that side before we start taking this side apart. All right, got that side cleaned up and greased. I'm not worried about the stuff on the outside. I can get that when it's all put back together. All right, if you're gonna take this side apart, you're gonna take this screw, and then unscrew this, and that'll open this whole side up. However, I don't normally do that unless I know there's a problem inside of there, because you can actually get to and grease most everything in there from this side without taking it apart. So I looked, and it's not real dirty and grimy in there. So what I'll do is I'll take a dab of grease and I'll put it there, and I'll take a dab of grease and I'll put it up in there, and then you'll go back to this side and you'll spin that right there, and that'll get everything in there moving. So what you'll do after you put some grease in there is you'll spin this. What that does, it spins everything around inside of there. So that'll kind of spread your grease around a little bit. I'll usually spin it a little bit and then put a little bit more grease in there on both spots. And I'll spin it again. And I can actually already feel improvements. It's definitely feeling a lot smoother. And I think that's good. Now the reason I don't like to take this side apart is there's a lot of small moving parts in there, and it's time consuming sometimes putting that all back together. So I don't do that unless I feel like I absolutely have to. Now, putting this back together, you'll see that there's two metal prongs on this side, and there's little recessions on that piece right there. You're gonna wanna line those up, just like that. Now you pretty much just do everything else in reverse. You're gonna tighten these three screws first, obviously. I will add, I do like to put a little bit of grease right here when I'm putting things back together. And if you can see how there's no paint there, that's because the inside of this here does drag on that, and it'll eventually wear out if you don't keep it greased. So definitely throw some grease on there, throw some grease on the threads. It'll make your life easier putting stuff back together. And just like that, we're done. Might want to take some time, just kind of make sure everything's working properly if it's your first time doing it. But pretty simple, and it'll make your reels last a hell of a lot longer.